a lot of times, like the inspiration for a lot of the designs will kind of come when I least expect it. Like I'll see something like scrolling through like Instagram of like another brand, and I'll be like, oh wow, that's really cool. Like how can I like incorporate that or kind of twist that into like what I'm thinking? You have to be a little bit more careful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not gonna risk destroying the race car
Yeah.
knowing like, okay, I'm probably not going to be able to fix it. You know what I mean? If I destroy the car, just try to, I don't know, just try to get out there as much as we can, and you know what I mean. Just spread the word and try to get like just obviously continuing the social media growth, the Instagram. Just the more people that see us and the more people that buy from us, the more it expands all over the country. So that's the goal.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Rubberneck Radio. I'm your host, Scott Long. And in this episode, I get the chance to speak with TJ Mayberry, the owner of Highside Apparel, the go-to apparel company for dirt track racing. This was a really cool episode because TJ shares with us what it's like to be a small business owner of an apparel company. He talks about the process of coming up with designs, putting those designs on his apparel, and then he also shares with us the ins and outs of his racing career and what it's like to own a car, own an apparel company, and run both of those different entities side by side. Make sure you subscribe to Rubberneck Radio on YouTube or on your favorite podcast player, and share this episode. It helps out a lot as we're growing this podcast, as we're growing this show. And you can check out all of our social media links in the description below. I'm going to drop Highside Apparel's links in the video description, or if you're listening to the audio only version, into the episode description. So make sure you check out Highside Apparel. Go support TJ. Go support his apparel company. And let's get into the episode. I want to tell you something. I'm envious of you, and I think high school Scott is envious of you because one of the things that I think myself and every other dude in high school had talked about was starting like a clothing company or an apparel company. And you'd be around your friends and stuff like that and be like, oh man, I think I'm going to start a clothing company, dude. I'm going to have all these sick designs and stuff. It's going to be so sick. And then like,
right,
you draw like a couple like shitty pictures, and then, that's about it. But, yeah,
where I
man,
started.
I think, yeah, you actually pulled the trigger on it, which is
You're right.
really cool.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. So tell me kind of the backstory of Highside Apparel.
Yeah, so Highside, I don't know, it was kind of an idea one day, and I'll be honest, like we were out at a buddy's like lake house out here in PA, and we were all just kind of like sitting around just having some drinks and whatnot, and I don't know, just talking about like the future and where we were at in our careers and our jobs and everything else, and we just kind of just got talking, and I don't know, I was kind of sitting there thinking like I need to come up with something that that one that I'm passionate about, but two, I could like sell in the racing community that people would like. You know what I mean? Something different, not something that's been done before. So like for me, like every sport seems to have like a clothing brand, whether it's like dirt biking, BMX, skateboarding. Like there's so many different apparel brands for action sports, and like there's so much, I don't know, like branding like everywhere. And I feel like dirt track racing didn't have that. I just feel like, I mean, you had your parts, your chassis suppliers, you could buy that sort of stuff, but you could buy like your racing t-shirts of your favorite driver, this and that, but there was no like real clothing brand that represented the sport itself. So that's where I kind of came up with the idea, like, hey, I was looking for so long for something to kind of represent like dirt track racing. I said, well, why don't I just make it myself? Um, I can't really say I had any plan going into it. I'm not really, wasn't good at any kind of graphic design, t-shirt design, anything like that. But
Yeah.
like I said earlier, I just kind of started from nothing and it's grown to where it is today. So that's basically where it came from.
How long ago did you start it?
So 2018 was technically, I think like August of 2018 is technically when it
Mhm.
launched. I think I like designed one shirt and basically released it at that point, and then just kind of my main goal was to just kind of build like a social media following. I think
Mhm.
that was like huge because if you don't have a social media following, I feel like people don't take you as seriously. But if you go on somebody's page and they have over 10,000 followers, it's like okay, that's kind of impressive, or it makes you more drawn to it. You know what I mean? So, um, I basically just started just posting, just pictures of race cars, basically just trying to represent like what the brand was going to be about. And then I
Mhm.
slowly started to create more designs. In the beginning, I was pretty much designing everything. I'm okay with like graphic design and doing some stuff on the computer, but it got to a point where I had a vision that I just couldn't create myself. So I had some other people like, hey, I bounced ideas off of them and they would design it for me. But now we're kind of at the point where I have a ton of designs that I want to release. At this point, it's just kind of coming up with the money to kind of keep expanding it and growing it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. You got to make that first step and really try to engage with your potential audience and with your potential like customer base and say, hey, like, we're a part of dirt racing. This is who we are. And I think like when I grew up, late 90s, early 2000s, when all the skate brands were the bee's knees. I was a big fan of like Hurley, Vans,
Yep,
Audio.
yep.
I never skated. I never
Me
skated. I
neither.
was too scared.
Yep, I've
Like
tried it a
I
few
had
times, but yeah, I was the same way. I wore more of the skating stuff and never actually skated.
Yeah, 100%. I had this one friend who I won't name, but he was a skateboarder, and I feel like almost every summer he ended up like breaking his wrist, and it would be right wrist, left wrist, right wrist, left wrist. And like I looked at that, I'm like, dude, I don't know if I want to break a bone skating, but I'll,
Right?
I'll buy the clothes and stuff. So
Sure.
what were some of the brands that you really like looked up to growing up and kind of influence like high side apparel today?
Um, so you kind of touched on one of them. Like Vans was always a big one. I mean, I still wear Vans to this day. That's like my main go-to shoe. But I'd say Vans, like Alpine Star, Fox Racing.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of some other ones, but the one that kind of like really, I don't know, I guess gave me the courage or desire to want to start the dirt track racing brand or high side apparel was Swindell Speed Lab. Like they created like their own like brand for Swindell Speed Lab, and like everybody knew the Swindell is obviously such a big name in dirt track racing, and they released like
Hmm.
awesome stuff. Like I love their designs, their brand. That kind of gave me the courage to start my own because I saw them and how good they were doing, and I was like, okay, like nobody else is really doing this at this point. So that's what kind of gave me the courage. But a lot of those brands, I just think from the really early age, like just from like watching the X Games and like seeing like riders just like decked out in like I don't know like Monster and Rockstar and everything like that. Like
Yep.
I thought that
Yep.
was so cool. You know what I mean? Like you're sponsored by this huge company, and I just wanted to create a brand that was like that. You know what I mean? And just do it for the sport
Yeah.
that I grew up in and the sport that I love. So that's basically kind of how I started with it.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting route, and you kind of mentioned that you grew up wearing like driver shirts and stuff like that, and there's obviously a lot of apparel companies in racing and motorsport and all aspects of motorsport, and but most of those apparel companies are for like merch, and so that wasn't really anything that um interested you, is doing like driver merch or anything like that.
I kind of kicked it around for a while, like doing the T-shirt like printing for like it is funny because people always confuse me because I have the apparel in there. They kind of reach out sometimes, not anymore, but in the beginning they thought
Sure.
I kind of did like printing for driver shirts or stuff like that, and I thought about it. I wouldn't rule it out completely in the future, but it's a lot of equipment and it's a lot of time to start that up too. You know what I mean? Like I would love to start designing and printing my own shirts. I think that would be a good idea, but I enjoy more the fact of it's kind of it's my brand. You know what I mean? Um, you could go out and buy a driver shirt, and don't get me wrong, like I buy driver shirts all the time, but
Hmm.
after the year that they're you know what I mean that shirt is now old, you got to get another updated one the following year. You know what I mean? So for
Yeah.
me, it was like the the high side you could wear all the time. You're always representing dirt track racing. But I can't say I've ever really gotten into the actual printing part of it. Maybe one day if we get big enough and I can start messing around and doing that myself, I would consider it, but probably not right now.
Yeah. Yeah. You've kind of mentioned like the printing part. Kind of take me through your process of you've got a design going on in your brain, and then putting that design on paper or putting that design in, the graphic software, Adobe, whatever, and then fleshing out into a shirt. Like, what does that process look like?
So honestly, a lot of times like the inspiration for a lot of the designs will kind of come when I least expect it. Like I'll see something like scrolling through like Instagram of like another brand and I'll be like, "Oh wow, that's really cool. Like how can I like incorporate that or kind of twist that into like what I'm thinking?" Um and then it'll be funny because I'll think of something like in the middle of the day and I'm like, that would be really cool, or like a saying or something that would be cool on a shirt, and I'll just quick write it down in my notes. That way I can go back and kind of reference that. Um, a lot of times, like I'm still like pretty new to the whole graphic design game. Like I
Hmm.
use Affinity Designer for MacBook. It's really easy to use. I'm still learning a lot on that, but a lot of the simple stuff I can pretty much just start kind of like laying it out on there and kind of designing it myself. Um, the more in-depth stuff, like actually, I've gone to my tattoo artist already, where I said, "Hey, like this is the vision I have. Can you put it on paper for me?" And he'll design it for me, and we'll make some alterations and tweaks here and there. But once I have like the design that I like, I'm happy with it. Um, Pretty much then it's kind of deciding, okay, how many do I want to print, and what colors do I want? Do I want it short sleeve, long sleeve, hoodies, hats? You know what I mean? Trying to figure out what it's going to look the best on. Um, that's honestly really difficult too. I hate to show the design before it's like released on the shirt, like on social media, because I kind of want it to be more like, oh, cool, like he just dropped a new shirt, it's got a new design, and that
Oh yeah, for
is more
sure.
exciting. But I also like to kind of put feelers out there, like in my story, like kind of like throw a design up and say, how do we feel about this? You know what I mean? And if I get a lot of like really good like reactions to it, then I'll kind of like move forward with it. But I usually try to like feel it out first, and then kind of go from there. But once we kind of have a design that I'm happy with, I have a couple different companies that I work with as far as like the printing goes. The
Okay.
hard
Yeah,
part
I was
is,
gonna ask, like, are you doing that stuff in the garage, like by hand, or what's that part of the process look like?
so at this point I'm not printing anything myself. So there's a couple online sites that I use that I've used in the past that are really good. I like to use some local people as well. The hard part is the more you order, the better pricing you get per shirt.
Hmm.
But the hard part is it's like, okay, if I go and order 50 shirts and they don't sell, then I'm stuck with them. You know what I mean? Then you're kind of like, okay, I have all this inventory, and for me, I get bored with my designs after like a month after they're released. You know what I mean? Like, okay, they're
Yeah.
out. That's cool. Let's go to the next thing. And I've kind of learned to kind of like pull that back a little bit because I have so many ideas that I just want to keep releasing. But that's where it gets difficult because sometimes I'll order 50 of them and they'll sell hot right away, and then they'll kind of cool off a little bit, and then I'm kind of stuck with them for a little while. So
Yeah.
there's other companies out there that you can order a few at a time. You know what I mean, and have like only three or four shirts in like each size, and then it's like, okay, if these really take off, then I can kind of order more and then get a better price on them. So once they're kind of printed and I kind of release them and see how they do, then I kind of decide, okay, how much do I want to order, um, and then we kind of go from there.
Is that the same kind of process for like your hats and like other apparel, like your jackets and stuff like that?
Pretty much. And like the jackets, like the windbreakers that I just released, like the dust jackets,
Mhm.
they're
Those are
awesome, but
sick, dude.
they're expensive. You know what I mean? Like $65, it's going to be like that's a lot for somebody to want to buy a jacket. So I didn't order a ton of those, just kind of like feeling those out, and that's because it's like I said, they're so expensive, and I just had to kind of see how they would sell it first, and then the hard part is too like the better quality stuff you want, the more you're going to pay, and the more you have to order at once. So it's always this balancing act of you want good quality, but you also want a good amount at the same time. So I've got different companies that I work with. I have a company that I get my stickers from. I have a company that I get my shirts from, my hats. Like you know what I mean. I kind of use a bunch of different companies in order to produce what I'm
Sure.
looking for.
Sure. So the this isn't the only thing that you kind of have your hand in the pot around dirt racing. You also run the 777 and the 602 Sportsman car there in Pennsylvania. You're out of Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. How long you've been running that car, and kind of tell us about your racing career.
So the Sportsman I've been running. This will be our third year running the Sportsman. Um, basically I like a lot of drivers, I grew up in it. My dad ran his whole life basically since he was 16 up until he was 65. So I
Yeah.
it's what I did every weekend. I grew up around it, instantly fell in love with it. As soon as I was old enough to kind of help and work on the car, race a car, I was there doing it. So I pretty much started in like a go-kart when I was, I don't know, like 7, 8 years old. Actually started on asphalt at like a local, just kind of like a road course. And I'll be honest, I didn't like it at first. I think I ran like a handful of races and I was like, like this isn't for me. And we
Mhm.
stopped for, I want to say maybe like a few years until I turned like 13, 14. Um, then we moved into a slingshot. I don't know. Are you familiar with the slingshots? They're kind of like a smaller version of like they kind of look like a Northeast modified, but they're basically like a
Oh,
Brigman
okay.
strap motor in there. So um,
Okay.
a
Yeah.
good starter class. So I basically
Sure.
ran that for 2 years. Kind of got my feet wet. Had a couple wins in the beginning stages of my career, and then we moved into Legends cars. Ran
Mhm.
Legends cars on dirt in PA for 2 years, and
Dude, the legend cars are so sick. I love watching legends.
they are. And when I ran them, this was back when they still had like the street tires on them. So when it got slick, like it was like racing on
That's
ice.
insane.
So
Yeah.
that that class alone taught me so much in like throttle control and how to like handle a car like on ice basically. So um, ran those for about 2 years, and then we got a late model, like a dirt late model, and ran it at a local track for about 2 years as well. Um, after the second year in the late model, our car owner at the time, he kind of stepped away for a while. He just kind of wanted to get away from racing, kind of do some family things, and totally understand that. Like we were around it for so long, and we honestly we didn't have a plan after that second year. So I
Mhm.
didn't race for about 5 years. So I would
Oh wow,
say
that's quite a break.
it was, and it was so weird because, like I said, normally I'm so used to doing something at the track, whether I'm watching my dad or I was racing, and then we were both completely out of it at that point, and it's hard once you're out of it. You don't ever know if you're going to get back into it again. And
Right,
the
100%.
reason I, the reason I say that is because it's like car owners aren't just sitting around waiting for somebody to come drive their car. You know what I mean? It's tough to find somebody that wants to put you in their car. Um,
Right.
I was fortunate enough to kind of have the same car owner like through the whole beginning stages of my career. And after about 5 years of us not racing, the guy that owned our cars originally, he kind of came back out to us and said, "Hey, do you want to get back into it?" He reached out to my dad, and my dad was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Like, let's can we do one for me and my son?" So basically, we ran. It's called a USAC Speedster. I don't know if you're
Okay.
familiar with those at all. They're kind of
Yep.
like like a midget type of race car. Mainly race over here, like in Pennsylvania, sometimes in New Jersey. But um, those I ran for about 7 years. They were a lot of fun. We raced against a lot of good drivers around here. Like a lot of the local, they would have sprint car drivers that raced them. They'd have like modified drivers, late model drivers, like a lot of big names in like the Pennsylvania
Sure.
and the surrounding areas raced that for a while, and we ran with them. And eventually, at the end, I think the last season, my dad basically called it a career. Um, it was pretty neat. The last night, and I think it was 2022 in the Speedster, he won and I finished second. So we
No
finished top
way.
two. So that was like a surreal moment just to kind of be racing against him for the win, and like I raced him hard, like I made him earn it. Like it was a
Yeah.
lot of fun to do that. But
Disney
he
needs to
basically
pick up the rights to that story, make it a movie.
yeah, right, exactly. No, it was such a cool night. I'll never forget that night. But he was done. He was like, look, he still has that competitive edge to him. Like he it'll never leave him. But just like
Sure.
physically, he was whooped by the time he got out of the car. And he's like, look, I'm at the point like I'm done. I'm just gonna help you out. You know what I mean? So I ran the speedster for one more year. I think we ran it up until 2023, and then or 2022, I guess it was, and then that was pretty much it. So um, we had never owned our own race cars. So coming out of that season, we were kind of like, what do we want to do? We had an opportunity to buy a sportsman modified, and my dad predominantly ran modifieds, so
Mhm.
I was always like attached to those and always wanted to kind of get started in that division. And we had an opportunity to do it, and that's kind of where we're at right now. It's our third year in the family-owned car, so
That's
that's
so
where we're at.
awesome, man. What are some of the biggest challenges that you guys have come across owning from basically driving someone else's car to now you're driving your own car and owning your own car? Like what are some of the biggest differences that you guys have come across?
I'd say like the biggest thing is like the sponsorships. Without the sponsorship, like I wouldn't be able to race. You know what I mean? Like we had kind of just enough to get everything we needed to start racing, but it kind of came down to, okay, if we don't have the sponsorships to fund like what we need throughout the season, we're not going to be able to do it. So that was tough. I really kind of had to put myself out there like that first season to really try to find local community or local businesses that wanted to come on board to kind of help sponsor me and get me through the season. So I'd say at first that was probably the most difficult thing. I mean, I the maintaining part of it was always something I did. I always worked on my own cars, always fixed what I broke. So that wasn't anything new. But now with owning your own equipment, knowing you don't have a ton of backing as far as like the funds go, you're I don't want to say it changes the way you drive, but it's almost like you you have to be a little bit more careful. You know what I mean? You just
Yeah.
you're not gonna risk destroying the race car
Yeah.
knowing like, okay, I'm probably not gonna be able to fix it. You know what I mean? If I destroy the car. So
Yeah.
that in one aspect is kind of how it changed a little bit. I try not to let that determine the way I race. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You break it, you got to fix it. We'll figure it out. But um, I'd say those two things are probably the biggest challenge.
How are you guys running so far this season?
Just like a lot of the Northeast, we've had so many rainouts. Like it's been
Dude, it's
terrible.
been brutal. Brutal.
I think we've had 11 scheduled races and we've ran three so far.
Yeah.
So we've had
Yeah,
we've had eight rainouts.
it's insane. Like so I mostly do photography over at Wayne County Speedway here in Northeast Ohio. I guess that's Central Ohio, but whatever. Um but yeah, like last weekend last weekend was the mid-season championships, but we didn't do anything in April. Nothing was really going on in May. And so, at that time, there had only been three races for the season, and we're already at like the mid-season championship. Like it's insane, dude.
I know. Yeah, I've never seen anything like this to start the year. I know our local track, Grandview. they already posted like the most they've had to start a season was I think 5 rainouts, and we're already at 8 now, and we're almost like halfway through the season pretty much, and it feels like we haven't even started. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, and I was talking to Jared Clay. He runs a modified out of Western Ohio, and he's basically like in a new car this season. And I was like, man, like how do you figure out your new car when you haven't had a ton of seat time? And he's like, dude, like I have to figure it out on the fly.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like I know up here they kind of made like a change in the suspension that
Mhm.
is now mandatory at most tracks up here. So going into the season, like I'd never ran this new configuration. So everybody was kind of in the same boat. Like we're trying to figure this out like week to week, like on the fly. But working with my shot guy, trying to figure out, okay, here's what it felt like. What should we try this week to make it better? There, you can't get any type of consistency. You know what I mean? It's like we ran now. We had 3 rainouts in a row, so it's been almost a month since I've been on the track, and it's like I tried one thing so far and it felt good, and I'm like eager to get back out there, but I can't get in any kind of rhythm or try it out to see what we want to do. So it's been tough.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel for you guys, man. I feel for you guys 100%. I kind of want to backtrack a little bit. Since you and your family own the car now, like what kind of businesses and partnerships and sponsors do you guys look for that kind of identify with your family and with your race team?
So I mean, I a lot of our sponsors are a lot of just like local businesses. It kind of helps me. Like a lot of people in the area kind of know like my dad and just kind of his background in racing. So when I've kind of reached out to some people, I've they recognize the name. You know what I mean? So they're kind of familiar
Hmm.
with it. It's tough though. Like if you go to a business and say, hey, can you give me whatever amount to be on my race car? I drive a race car. It's like, well, most people don't have any familiarization with dirt track racing, so it's kind of like a hard sell. Like you know what I mean? Like a little league baseball team, like okay, everybody knows what baseball is. Like they know they get viewers and
Right.
this and that. You kind of have to like sell like what dirt track racing is and how it's gonna help their business. But um, we kind of focused on who do we have? So we have like I work at a repair shop called Michelak's Auto Repair. They're
Okay.
right here in town, so they sponsor. We have a family friend who owns a garage not far from us, Unionville Automotive. So they're our primary sponsor. Um, Actually, I got a this year I got an energy drink to come on board.
Nice.
Um, yeah, they're actually they changed their name to the energy drink, so it's easy to remember. But my
I'm surprised that that name was open.
me too. Like it was originally Buffed Energy, which I thought was pretty cool, and then they're like, oh no, we're going to change it to the energy drink. So I'm like, okay, whatever. It's your energy drink. So that was actually a friend of ours' brother and his friends kind of started that, so they came on board this year. I have a local farm, Kenjan Farm, that we buy like all of our like meat produce from. So they decided to come on board. Um, my one friend is into kind of like truck polishing, like metal polishing.
Uh-huh.
He's got a buddy that has his own like detailing products and metal polishing products out in Wisconsin,
Oh, no way.
and he's kind of familiar with dirt track racing out that way. So he came on board this year. My mom owns like an antique store, like a country store. So she kind of helps out when she can with like paying for some parts, this and that. But honestly, just like a lot of local repair shops. We have some drinks, just all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? It to me, it's like if you don't reach out, you're never gonna know. You know what I mean? Like a
Hmm.
company that you would think has no interest at all are the ones that come back and say, yeah, you know what, we're interested. Like what would it take to be a sponsor? So it's kind of neat when you reach out to people.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. And I think as dirt racing continues to grow, I just think like motorsports in general is in a really interesting place where um, there's a lot of growth. There's a lot of potential for growth. Like we've got Mansfield Speedway. That just got bought, and they're gonna be reopening. They're working on that. And then you also have speedways that are closing and stuff. And so I think drivers and race teams are in a really interesting position to try and show value to those sponsors and those partnerships, instead of just like, hey, cool, like I've we're slapping your logo on the side of the car.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the social media aspect of like dirt track racing is so big now. Like you have to have like a racing page. You have to have like a spot where you post your results and kind of do shout outs for your sponsors.
Hmm.
Try to display that on there, not just on the car, but um, I feel like nowadays too, with all the streaming that we have, like between Flow, Dirt Vision, everything that's out there right now, businesses can be seen so much more worldwide than just like a local audience too. So I think that's a big selling point for us as drivers. If like obviously if you race at tracks that are on the like the streaming services, but I just think between social media, between the streaming devices, and just people going out to the track, I think there's just so much more that the sponsor can get from it with the way it is nowadays.
Does Highside offer any sponsorship or partnerships with any drivers?
So we did there for a little while, and that's something that I'm trying to work up to. I can't really afford to do any kind of paid sponsorships for like multiple
Sure.
drivers at this point. I've reached out. I've worked with a couple local guys and girls around here that race, and hey, I'll give you a discount code for the website, and you know what I mean. Order whatever you want. I'll give you 50% off, whatever. If you want to put the name on the car, that sort of thing. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Um, I'd love to get to a point where I could reach out to like a bigger sprint car driver or somebody and say, "Hey, I'll give you so and so. Can you rep high side?" You know what I mean? Like when you're at the tracks, and like, can we be like
Hmm.
your apparel sponsor? You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
I'm kind of working up to
Yeah.
that. So as of right now, we're just kind of doing our own thing, just trying to get more more views, and just kind of more people realizing who we are and what high side is, and then eventually at some point, hopefully, we can get on some of the bigger cars.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome, man. What are some of the like strategies that have really worked for you guys on social media and on the marketing aspect for the company?
It's tough because it's like the social media aspect is always changing. Like there, when I started Instagram, it was like you post a picture and it gets likes. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Now it's all about reels. You got to use like trending audios. You got to use eye catching stuff because there's so many videos out there that people want you to stop and like look at. It's got to appeal to your right audience. You know what I mean? Um, my wife is in marketing, and we're always bouncing ideas off each other. Like I saw something, I say, "Hey, do you think we could do this like with high side somehow?" And she always like kind of helps me out in that way. Um, but it's tough. I mean, to me, I mainly am like super focused on Instagram. That seems to be where I have my biggest following. My goal last year, like in the middle of summer, was to reach 10,000 followers. Um, I hit that last year, and obviously, I keep trying to grow on that. I do have a Facebook page. I kind of just post what I have on Instagram on Facebook. Don't have as big of a following on Facebook, but for me, I feel like Instagram is where I get my most views, get my most engagement. Um, Boosting posts is like a huge thing. You got to spend money to do that, but if I'm going to spend $15 to boost a post, if one person buys a shirt, that pays for the boost post. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the advertising part of it is huge, but you have to do it in order to get the views and the followers.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think the Reels algorithm it's the real deal. I mostly do photography, and I don't really like doing the Reels. Like it's not really my thing. I did a couple from like last weekend, and they did okay, but I
It's
post good
hard.
photos out there, and it's like 7 likes, or I'm
Yeah,
I'm not even like triple digits on my followers or anything like that. But it's like, God, man, like what do I got to do to do it? And it's, you said it's the reels, and I'm just like, ah, they don't interest me. Like it's not fun for me. I know that's the way to grow, but it's like, man, I don't know if I'm getting old or what, man.
It feels TikTok-y. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
TikTok. Yeah, like it just if that's what people want to see right now. They want to see like their short videos and trust me, like I sit there like every day. I'm like, okay, what reel can I make today to try to get views? You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah,
hard, and you think you spend so much time making it. You get the right audio. You just like you get everything like kind of laid out to how you want it, and you think it's going to do awesome, and then like you said, the algorithm. You got to find the right time to post it, and it either does fantastic and you're not expecting it, or it does nothing. You know what I mean? And you're kind of like,
yeah.
what the hell? So it
What are we doing here?
exactly. So it's tough, but it's like I try not to let that discourage me because I feel like whenever I have a bad post and then all of a sudden another one blows up and I'll get 5 orders. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
it's hit or miss. It's so up and down.
yeah. Is that is social media like the majority way that you're getting your orders? Because I was looking at your Instagram. Like, obviously, you've got the shop options, or the buy now options and stuff like that. Is that the way that you're seeing the majority of your traffic?
So yeah, I mean, so for me, I used to have like the Instagram shop set up like that people could buy right from Instagram. Um, I'll be honest, I didn't like it. I had it on there and I had it on Facebook,
Really?
and I found it was more confusing than anything. Like there was one order that went through that I didn't even get a notification for, and I
Oh,
realized it like a few months later, and I'm like, holy crap! Like I'm so sorry. Like I just saw your order come through on Facebook, but I try to like when I boost a post, I try to make everybody just go to my page. You know what I mean? Like
mm,
my specific Instagram page, and that's where I have like the website on there, and then they click and they hopefully go to the website. Um, that is my main source of selling right now. Um, when I was racing the Speedster, we raced on Wednesday nights, so I still had my weekends to kind of like go to other tracks and like set up a booth and like sell stuff there. And
mm,
we would do like awesome. Like we would go to some certain tracks and we'd almost sell like everything. And you're like, holy crap, like this is awesome. And then you kind of restock and everything. But with me racing on Saturday nights now, it kind of restricts where I can go. You know what I mean? I'm either going I get done at work Friday night at 5 o'clock, so I'm not going to make most of Friday night races. So that leaves Sundays. You know what I mean? So I'm
right.
kind of restricted in what I can do as far as like selling in person, but I try to do that as much as I can because people are more likely to buy when they see it and can pick it up and hold it rather than pay the shipping fee, go to the website, order it on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so much better to do it in person.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think I don't know the last time that like I bought a shirt online, cuz I like to see it. I like to feel it, and also like I've got a weird shape. Like I've got really broad shoulders, and uh, I'm getting a little bit more of a belly than I'd want, but you know,
I'm the
that's
same way. I'm so particular with the way stuff fits. Like I have a bigger head than normal, like most people do. So whenever I order a hat online, I'm always like, okay, how's it really going to fit me? You know what I mean? And then you get
yeah.
it, and it's like super small, and then you hate it, and you don't. So I totally get it. Like I'm 100% the same way. Like if I see it in person and I can actually try it on, sure, I'll buy it. But if it's online, it's a lot more difficult.
Yeah. What was the process like to kind of pick out like your blanks for your hats and your shirts, and like what kind of qualities in your blanks were you looking for?
So I kind of just went to a couple of different companies. Like I said, for me, I have a bigger head, so I tried to find hats that kind of like fit me. You know what I mean?
Mm,
That way, because I know if they fit my head, they're going to fit pretty much anybody's head. So um, it's just trial and error. You know what I mean? I ordered some here and there, kind of saw the quality of like the stitching, the design work, kind of how it fit, whether it was snapback, uh, flat brim, flex fit, curved brim. You know what I mean? Just all
yeah.
different types, and kind of just tried them out and just kind of sold some here and there. And if they sold out quickly, it's like okay, I know these are popular. I could get more of these. If I got one that just didn't look as good as I wanted to, I would kind of try a different design or try try another company. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of trial and error, and I kind of have my brands down now that I know I like. Like there's a specific T-shirt that I pretty much use for all my designs. A lot of the hats that I have are pretty much all the same. Um, so I kind of a lot of trial and error, and once I kind of hit on something that I really liked, I kind of just stick with those.
Sure. What's how much on the finger? Oh my god, I can't talk. That's okay. That's why we're editing a little bit. But obviously you have to have your finger on the pulse of trends in clothing and trends of kind of seeing what your competitors are doing, or similar companies, maybe like a Fox Racing, or going back to Vans and stuff like that. Like, what does kind of your R&D look like when you're thinking about dropping a new product or exploring a new market?
Yeah, so I take into consideration a lot of different things. For me, it seems like the more simple stuff. Like everybody loves the color black. Like black goes with everything. It looks the best. You can put any color on it. It's going to match it. Um, but I don't want to do all black clothes. You know what I mean? If I could wear black, gray, and white every day, I would. You know what I mean? Those are my three favorite colors when it comes to clothing. But I'm also a fan of diversity and just different colors, different color combinations, all that kind of stuff. So I I'll check out just I'll go on one that I really like to kind of check out their stuff is like Fast House. I don't know if you heard of them, but like they do like motocross and kind of like
Yeah.
mountain biking type apparel. They have a lot of awesome designs, I think, and just kind of like their color schemes that they use. So every once in a while, I'll just kind of jump on those sites and just kind of see like what they have available. And I'll kind of do the same thing like with colors. Like I just released a shirt that was watermelon color, and it basically is like a salmon or almost like a pinkish type color. And I
Is that
I don't
the
know.
no one cares works harder tee?
Yep, yeah, that's the one I just
Yeah.
released one of the that I think like a couple weeks ago, and I know it's not for everybody. You know what I mean? Most race car drivers or men are not probably not going to buy a watermelon colored T-shirt, but
Yeah.
it's different. You know what I mean? And I like that. You know, I like to try different colors, and it's funny because my mom says it all the time. She's like, "Oh, another black shirt. Why don't you try something like bright?" And it's like because it's not what sells. You know what I mean? So
That's not what
it
dudes
it,
like, mom. God.
exactly. So um, but yeah, I mean, definitely like looking at competitors and kind of seeing like what their colors are, what their styles are, and just kind of seeing like what everybody is into. You know what I mean? And it's always changing. So I kind of first go off of what I think looks best. I'll kind of bounce some ideas off my friends, off my wife, and just say, hey, like, would you wear this, or what do you think about this color or this design, and then just kind of go from there.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up pull up like your current catalog right here. What I really what really stands out to me is like all the kind of cool like earthy colors. Like these are all almost colors that you would see like at the track, you know, with the tans, the greens, the reds, a lot of really cool stuff, and graphics and colors. So yeah, I don't know. It
Yeah,
just
and as
seems
you
like
can see, as
super earthy.
I was just gonna, I was just gonna say, you can see I'm pretty much my own model too, which kind of sucks, but
You look good, man.
um, well, thank you. I mean, somebody's got to get in the picture to display it. So,
That's right.
um, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I try to do some different colors that I think are popular, other than black. I know if like superstitious people don't like the green because they don't want to wear green at the track or anything like that. So I have noticed green doesn't seem to sell the best. Camo seems to be pretty popular for
Hmm.
whatever reason. People like camo. Um, but yeah, like the tans, like the darker colors seem to sell the best. I guess too, like when you're at a racetrack, like you're not going to want to wear a white t-shirt. You know what I mean?
No.
So you kind of have to think of it in that aspect too. Like maybe like a light gray, but you're not going to wear white.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to take that stuff into consideration too.
Yeah. These shop banners are pretty cool too. Is that something that you guys are getting made locally, or is that something that's kind of getting outsourced?
Yeah, so that's getting outsourced. So I had one made and kind of had it like up in my trailer, like my race trailer, and I had two people reach out to me and say, "Hey, like, can I get one of those?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I can order it. It'll be like 2 weeks to get it, but I'll send it to you right away." And I was like, "Well, why don't I just put that on the website?" And then that's kind of why I put in the description there, like they're made to order. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Hmm.
have them just laying around. So just kind of another cool thing to have on the site that somebody can order, and it's not tying up any money for me by having it stuck in inventory. And I seem to have been selling some of those too.
Yeah. Have you have you thought about almost doing like a street team to try and hit, you know, different racetracks on the nights that you're racing or anything like that? Like I guess my next question is like, what's the next step for growth?
I have thought about that. It's tough because then it's like, okay, you can have family members do that, but like who wants to go do that? You know what I mean? Like they would rather
Right.
have you there with it to kind of help you with that. And then at this point, like we're not big enough to the point of where I can like hire somebody and say, hey,
Sure.
here, go to
Yeah,
this
that makes
track and set
sense.
up and sell. You know what I mean? It's tough.
Yeah.
So um, I don't know. Like I said, I think I really want to try to focus more on like trying to get to other tracks, whether it's, you know what I mean, once a month, whether it's on a Saturday or if I like leave work a little bit early on a Friday and try to get to a track. Um, in the off season, we try to go to, I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's called Motorama.
Hmm.
It's out in Harrisburg, but that's like a huge show that happens every year. It's a weekend in February, and we did that 2 years. We just did it this past year. We had a pretty good showing for that. So we try to get to like trade shows. Just try to I don't know, just try to get out there as much as we can, and you know what I mean. Just spread the word and try to get like just obviously continuing the social media growth, the Instagram. Just the more people that see us and the more people that buy from us, the more it expands all over the country. So that's the goal.
Yeah. Where's the furthest spot that you've like shipped something out to?
So everything has been like within the country. I'm still trying to work out like sending to Australia because obviously there's like a lot of like dirt track racing in
Yeah,
Australia.
100%.
I've had people I've had people reach out from Australia, and it just I'm trying to find a way that it's affordable for somebody to order from there and not be ridiculous for shipping. You know what I mean?
Right.
So right now I'm just still shipping within the states. I mean, I get orders from California like pretty frequently. Like
Mhm.
California is a pretty popular area. Washington State is pretty much the farthest that we've sent stuff, but it's pretty cool. You see orders from all over the country, and it's neat to see that everybody from all over the place is kind of seeing the brand and is ordering from us.
Yeah, no, like I look at the style of the brand and it looks very California. Like I'm from Southern California, so I was around you know, a lot of that stuff, the Fox Racing, Thor, SRH. I don't know if SRH ever made it out your way or not,
Yep,
but a
yep,
lot of
yeah. A lot of
dudes.
my friends wore that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, it's all really cool stuff. What does High Side Apparel look like in 5 years, man?
5 years. Honestly, I keep having this vision. Like right now, with where I'm living, like we just don't have the space for it. But I'd love to either get like some kind of like office like space for High Side, whether it be like an outdoor shed that has like it's my own like studio where I have like all my like apparel, not just in bins like sitting in my living room, which I have right now, but like kind of like display case and kind of have like just like my own area for high side specifically,
Yep.
and where I can like shoot reels and I can promote products, like do products pictures, just kind of where I can do my design work, that sort of thing, and just kind of like make it my high side like man cave, like that is like one of my biggest goals is to have that. Not necessarily like a storefront where somebody could come by and
Sure.
like actually purchase the products because like I said, more than likely they're probably going to order it online. But that would be kind of like what in picturing in 5 years. I'm hoping depending on how racing goes for me. I hope I'm still racing in 5 years. You know what I mean? Like it just
Yeah.
at this point for me, it's kind of year to year, and I hope I still am, and I hope I can still promote at tracks. Um, I don't know. I would hope in 5 years that it's kind of doubled in size. You know what I mean? Just with the social media followings, and hopefully it just kind of really takes off, and it's more widely known throughout the country. You know what I mean? Like it's so
Yeah.
cool when you're at the track and somebody walks up to you and says, "Hey, like you're the high side guy. Like I saw you on Facebook or I saw you on Instagram," and it's like that's awesome. You know what I mean? That just that makes it all worth it. You know what I mean? Like people
Yeah.
are out there are noticing like what you're designing, what you're making, and um, it's just neat every time you go to a track and somebody's wearing your shirt that you made and produced. It's an awesome feeling. So just hoping to be bigger and better in 5 years.
Yeah, no, I think you guys are on the right track, man. I mean, that's how you guys got on my radar was, just through scrolling on Instagram and seeing some of the apparel, and then I think I saw a kid rocking a shirt over at Wayne County, and decided to check your stuff out, and then with the podcast, um, I think it's important to kind of highlight these brands that aren't just selling merch for drivers, but trying to embed themselves in the culture of dirt racing and embed themselves in motorsport. And I think what you guys are doing is really cool, man.
No, I appreciate that, and doing stuff like this too. Like you're just starting out the podcast. I think that's awesome. Like you know what I mean. Like just
Yeah,
it seems like apparel companies, podcasts, anything that gets people talking about racing, that just helps like the spread of just like the awareness of racing and everything like that, and just the sport that we love. I think it's just awesome. You know what I mean? I think it's continuously growing. Um, it's cool to see like when you reached out to me, I'm like, oh wow, like how did you find me? You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
to me,
Just through
like
the
I'm still
algorithm,
like
man.
this, yeah, and that just shows me like okay, it's working. You know what I mean? Like people are
Yeah,
seeing like the stuff I'm putting out and they're interested in it. So like just having me on, it's greatly appreciated. You know what I mean? Just helps get the word out there.
yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Would it ever make sense for you to invest in like a screen printing, setup and do that stuff in house compared to outsourcing it?
It probably would in the long run. Obviously, you'd have to get the money up front to buy the equipment, but I think overall you could probably buy shirts like way less than what I'm spending to buy them from like an outsource. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And then to print them myself too, like it's yeah, it would be a lot cheaper. And then I can, like I said earlier, I can print as much as I want. You know what I
Yep.
mean? I don't have to have it all sitting there. And if I want to make more, I can just go make more. So it's definitely something I have considered. Like I said, still haven't gotten to the point where I think we're big enough to do that yet. But I do definitely think that could be something we're doing in the future.
Talked about growing high side as the brand, but like what are the next products and kind of what are the next steps in products and apparel that you guys are interested in? If you can kind of give me a little bit of the inside baseball.
Yeah, no. I'm always trying to think of like different things that other companies don't have. You know what I mean? That could be used in racing. Like I know there for a while I was thinking about maybe getting into some socks.
Mhm.
And there again, I don't know how they would sell. You know what I mean? I know in like motocross, like they wear like the knee high socks like underneath like their boots and everything, which I know that would sell well in there. So that was something I had thought about. I've been thinking recently, like trying to get like custom like racing gloves made that have like high
That'd be
side on them.
sick.
Um, I think that would be really cool. I know we're doing like the visor strips like on the decals. I'm actually making all those by hand myself. So um, just I don't know. I'd say the racing gloves would be like the next big thing that I would like try to get into. Trying to expand more into like the women's side of it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I very like I have some stuff here and there, like some tank tops and like all of our shirts are unisex, so
Mm.
guys and girls can buy both of those. But like yoga pants are like huge. It's just like I don't know enough about them to know like okay what would sell and what wouldn't. Like you know what I mean? Like what would be appealing? Like I'm always asking my wife like would you buy this? Like, would you wear this? Like
Yeah.
you tell, like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to get as much insight as I can. I'd really like to try to get more for for women, and kids too. Like I get people all the time like asking, "Do you have any like kids stuff?" We have like one youth shirt out right now that I think I'm going to try to come up with some new kid stuff. But there again, there's only so much you can make. You know what I mean? You got to kind of sell like what I have right now, and then kind of create some new things as we go.
Yeah, I think yeah, branching out into like women's apparel and stuff like that. Like that's got to be a whole different monster. Because there's so many brands out there, and I, I don't want to make this sound stereotypical, but like, guys or um t-shirt and jeans, cool, t-shirt and shorts, and then women, they obviously put like a little bit more thought into what they're wearing, and what the design looks like, and then obviously like how a shirt fits and how yoga pants fit and stuff like that. So um
Yeah, it's a
best of
whole
luck.
different ball game.
Yeah, best of luck.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. um I think I think our audience is learned a lot about high side and kind of what you guys represent, and your kind of backstory. Like, I'm stoked on you guys. I love seeing these stories of companies and people just like you said at the top of the show, you just kind of sent it and said, all right, well, I'm gonna figure it out step by step. Where can our audience find you guys on social media?
Yeah, so we're on, like I said, Instagram, Facebook. You can just search High Side Apparel. We should pop up like pretty much right away. But yeah, we're on Instagram, Facebook. Um, the website is highsideapparel.shop.
Mhm.
So you can find us online there. And just social media, I try to post like if we're going to be at a track, like I try to post that like somewhere on social media. So if you're going and you can see that we're going to be there, you can kind of plan on stopping by and seeing us. But we're mainly in like the Pennsylvania area, like Central PA. Most tracks we try to go to. I mean, I race at Grandview, so I'm there pretty much every weekend. Port Royal is a track we like to try to get to as often as we can. Um, Action Track USA, actually, Sunday, I know the USAC sprint cars are over here right now racing for on the East Coast for Eastern Storm. So we're going to try to get to Action Track on Sunday and set up a booth and kind of sell there. Um, Bridgeport is another track we try to get to when we can. Um, so yeah, I mean, just follow us on social media. You can always access our stuff on the website and just kind of keep track of where we're going to be and definitely stop by and check us out.
No, that's awesome, man. I'll be sure to drop the links in the show notes, and obviously tag you guys and all that good stuff. So TJ, I appreciate you coming on the show, man, and telling us your story and sharing with us about High Side Apparel. You guys go support your boy. Go buy a shirt. Even better, go buy a shop banner, even if you don't have a shop.
You can hang it in your house. Your wife won't care.
No, no, yeah, that'd be fine. Just right above the bed. That'd be fine.
No, exactly. But no, like you said, I appreciate you having me on. Any sale helps us. You know what I mean? Anytime I see this video all the time on Instagram or on social media, but like these people that are like it's like a surveillance camera, but like there's two girls behind a desk, and somebody comes in and buys from like their local business, and when they leave, they kind of like hunch down and they're like celebrating because somebody just bought from you. You know what I mean? Like that's the feeling I get every time I get that notification on my phone, like somebody just ordered a shirt for me. Like that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah,
just it supports me. It supports my racing because I put some of the money that I make from High Side into my race car. It just I just have a passion for the sport and just I love to be able to give back to it and just you know what I mean give racers and fans just badass apparel to wear.
yeah. No, I'm in the same boat with you, man. Because when I post my photos, obviously, like, anybody can take a photo off of Facebook and then repost it, but when somebody like buys like an actual digital download and stuff, I'm like, let's go, dude.
Yeah,
It's
exactly,
it's like the
exactly.
best feeling, man.
It is. It really is.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that episode with TJ here on Rubberneck Radio. Be sure to like, subscribe here on YouTube, follow or subscribe, whatever it is on your favorite podcast player. Like I said, all the links for Highside Apparel and Rubberneck Radio will be in the description. And make sure you share this episode. Helps out a lot. It's free. It's easy to do. And we will see you in the next episode of Rubberneck Radio.